So now we're going to work through the anterior tibialis, or the tibialis anterior, with our TP ball. Now, once again, this is train the trainer model. So I'm going to do first pass, and then the client is going to do the next 3 passes on their own. Now, once again, this is a 4-2-2 process, and we're going to do it 4 times. Now, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply pressure with the TP ball into the anterior tibialis. Now, what I want you to be aware of is the antib sits very close to the bone. So what I want you to do is get the ball right up in there. Now, realize that you don't want to put complete compression onto the bone. It's going to be just offset to the lateral side. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply pressure with the back of the palm of my hand, and I'm going to have a straight arm. Okay? So the programming here, once again, 4-2-2. Now we're going to use pivots, and that pivot means we're going to move the muscle and the ball at the same time. Okay, so take a deep breath for me and release. Again, we're bringing the oxygen to the area. Now, deep breath, release, pivot. Deep breath, release, pivot. Deep breath, release, pivot. That's 3. Deep breath, release, pivot. Perfect. Now, what does the programming say? 2 rotations to the left and 2 rotations to the right. Now, this is at the point where I remove my hands from the equation and allow my client to do it on their own. So what we're actually going to do here is lift up into this position right here. For camera purposes, I'm going to have you rotate, and we're going to pick up right at that point. So now that we've got the body into position, we need to go through the programming. Once again, it's a 4-2-2 process. We've already done 1 pass where I've worked with you as the trainer. Now as a client, I need to empower you to be able to do it on your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend the knee slightly. We're going to raise the foot off the ground. We're going to come out with the knee elbows just slightly. Now it's a deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. That's 3. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Now the programming says 2 rotations to the left, 2 rotations to the right. Now reposition if necessary, and we're going to go through our next 2 passes. So deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. That's 3. Got 1 more. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Now, programming says we've got 2 rotations to the left. Perfect. 2 rotations to the right. Now let's go ahead and get our last pass. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Perfect. 2 more. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Deep breath, release, and pivot. Awesome. Programming says 2 rotations to the left, 2 rotations to the right. Awesome. Now give me that ball. Let's stand up and get our reveal. Now we're going to go ahead and go through the reveal for the antib. Now what I'd first like you to do is go ahead and hop on that left leg for me. Now the activation of your antib here is to enable you to be able to control the foot in a better manner. Now look at how he's able to stay in a movement pattern that is efficient from all the way from his shoulder all the way down to the foot. Now let's go ahead and do the opposite side. And look at how the heel once again has to be absorbed into the ground to really stabilize the body through that movement pattern. Look how hard he has to really structure his body to get the body upward and moving. Now, let's go to a more dramatic reveal. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and I want you to jump up and land on that left foot. I want you to listen to this. Go ahead and do it one more time. And now let's go ahead and do the right leg. And again. You can instantly hear how much force goes into the ground, and you can actually hear him breathe more to get his body up and land in a more solid position. Go ahead and do it one more time. So the reality is the harder you have to work, the higher the heart rate, the decrease in performance, and in the end, your movement is controlled by your body's ability to move. Here, it's movement with a purpose because we're giving you that freedom of movement. Great, let's move on.